We stay in the US, where Donald Trump has held a town hall on friendly turf on the Fox News channel. The event took place as Trump faces a transformed race for the White House. The former president has watched his lead in opinion polls evaporate since Joe Biden endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as Democratic Party nominee. The two rivals will come face-to-face next Tuesday in their first TV debate. Let's get more from DW's Stephen Beardsley from our US election team. Stephen, good morning.
Hey, Brush.
What stood out to you in this event? What were your main takeaways?
Brush, this wasn't just friendly turf. This was hosted by Sean Hannity, someone who has styled himself as an unofficial advisor to Donald Trump. It's very clear that this was a campaign event masquerading as a town hall. You had lots of cheers, you had lots of whooping for him. There were no questions actually from the audience the whole time, at least in the first hour. We learned later that some questions were asked. They'll be aired tomorrow on Sean Hannity's show. Basically, what stands out is this is really preparation for the debate that's coming up. This is how Trump likes to prepare. He likes to have his name chanted. He likes these one-sided events, but he also likes to insist that the other side, that Kamala Harris, isn't ready for the stage, that she is not prepared, that she is naive still, and that she's going to fail on the stage. And part of doing that is, one, suggesting that she knows the questions beforehand coming up to the debate, that it's going to be deceptive, what's going on there. Another, another is by talking about the preparations around the debate, whether they're going to be allowed to stand, be seated, if there's going to be a live mic on the whole time. These issues that really sort of suggest that the other side is trying to manipulate the terms of the debate. And then, of course, finally, by having this great big stage, this big presentation that you call a town hall and saying, I'm here, I'm available, I'm not hiding anything. The other side, however, they're trying to work the details of this coming debate. One other thing that stood out, Paresh, most of America on this day was talking about a shooting that happened, another school shooting in the state of Georgia. 4 people killed, I believe, from a 14-year-old with a gun. This was barely mentioned in this debate. It just shows gun control still not a viable issue for this party and for this candidate.
So what can we expect from this debate next Tuesday?
Yeah, I think this is all preparation for it, so this is the big question. We're going to want to see if that spark has been lost by the Trump campaign. A lot of people would say, look at the opinion polls, Kamala Harris has come up. But we also know that in the U.S., this election takes place through electoral college votes. That means you have to win states, not the overall amount of voters, something that Democrats have had better luck doing in recent elections. And that in many of those battleground states, we'd call them the key states that these opponents have to win, Trump is actually doing better or he's very close. So in many ways, the momentum appears to have shifted, but in reality, not quite so much. What's going to have to happen is we're going to wonder, first of all, if there's going to be a policy debate. You know, the Republicans would like to stress immigration, for one, the economy. Harris would like to stress reproductive rights. That's an area where she does well, abortion rights. But really, this is going to be for Harris about proving that that momentum that she's had in the overall polls, that it's legitimate, that it's grounded in something real. She's going to have to stay stable. She's going to have to withstand his attacks. He wants to prove, on the other hand, that he can rattle her.
And speaking about these battleground states, I mean, this this town hall was held in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. And although the opinion polls seem to indicate that Kamala Harris has a lead over Trump, but she's not doing too well in these battleground states. Is that correct?
Yeah, in many of them, she's still struggling, right? And so in the states that she has to win, states like North Carolina, maybe not so much this year, but in past elections, North Carolina was still in play. Virginia, Florida, she's going to have a clear lead and start showing a clear lead. It's going to have to really hook in and take effect. And that's something that we haven't quite seen yet, even if in the general mainstream polls, we're seeing there is more movement in her direction. So this is something that both candidates are going to target during that debate. They want these undecided voters. To some extent, they know Trump, they know his bluster. They may not know Harris as well. And so she's going to have to prove herself by standing up to him on that stage.
We'll leave it there for the moment. DW Stephen Beardsley, thanks so much.
And joining me now is DW's Stefan Simons. Stefan, what stood out to you in that event?
Well, actually, the biggest thing standing out was that nothing new happened, nothing new was said. There was no Donald Trump having anything new in terms of criticizing the Biden-Harris administration policies, nothing on the agenda, same old stuff. immigration, saying Mexico and other countries sent their worst into the United States, and we, the United States, are opening our borders. Responsible for this, Biden and Harris. The other thing he said, and which stood out in terms of he's repeating this over and over and over again. His first day in office, he's promising the largest deportation measures the world has ever seen. Nothing new in terms of his attacks against Kamala Harris. Be it personal or not, under the belt line or not. So there was nothing new. One thing important to detect here and to mention is I think there was a little bit of angst displayed by former President Donald Trump in regards to the upcoming debate you just mentioned. He mentioned over and over again that he assumes that ABC, that's the network which will host this debate, has given or will give Kamala Harris questions and perhaps even the answers to those questions. That's, of course, not factual and speculation on his part, but those are the things standing out.
So nothing new, as you so clearly pointed out. We have seen Kamala Harris gaining ground in opinion polls. Does this mean that we are not going to see a change in Trump's approach then?
Yeah, I don't think he's actually, and you think here's what the experts say, here's what the observers say who really knee deep into this is, and people who know Donald Trump, and I'm not one of the intimate, I don't have intimate knowledge of Donald Trump, but he can't be different. You can't train a horse a new trick, an old horse a new trick. And he's an old horse, so he's doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't think that he can, even if the campaign wants him to change one way or another his attacks or his demeanor or anything, his approach towards Kamala Harris and the new numbers, the new poll numbers where she leads in some states, I don't think he can do it. And this is at least what all the experts say. He is not able to change. He is not, if maybe intellectually, but something in him he cannot change. He's riding the old horse, the old attacks, always the same from Donald Trump, so far at least.
So what do you think was the point of this Fox News event? Is it simply another attempt to rally the Trump base?
Yeah, I think so. He's catering to his own base. The crowd there in the studio was, of course, jubilant, and it was a home run for him. So that was a very, very friendly crowd. You see, America is not only divided, maybe culturally and politically for sure, but also when it comes to habits of people, what TV program they watch. So there's a specific crowd, a specific segment in America here which watches Fox News. That's a conservative or leaning to the right, very right populace who does that. And there's others who then go in the other direction, MSNBC, CNN, and so on. So very divided in this. This was a home run and a home game for Donald Trump, trying to say the same old things to the crowd who has probably heard it about 1,000 times.
So home run on home turf, but let's see if Trump does that well in the debate as well. Stefan Simons, thank you so much for tracking that story for us.